Hello everyone and welcome to The Hague, where world leaders have gathered for the NATO summit. We've just seen President Zelensky and his team leave actually, but the story of the day in terms of the United States is that President Trump has rejected a leaked US intelligence report. And that report has cast doubt over the success of America's strikes on Iran. Speaking alongside the Secretary General Mark Rutte, we heard from Donald Trump, who told reporters that Tehran's nuclear program had been put back decades. He described the scenes at the sites as virtual obliteration. Have a listen.
We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration. When you take a look at the ground above, don't forget the flame is all underground. But everything above, if you look at the before and the after picture, everything above is burned black, the trees, everything. There's one building, but that's a building that sunk substantially into the granite so that, you know, the fire goes right over it. I believe it was total obliteration. I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything out because we acted fast. If it would have taken 2 weeks maybe, but it's very hard to remove that kind of material. Very hard and very dangerous for them to remove it.
Well, we have been hearing in the last hour from Rafael Grossi. He's the head of the UN's nuclear watchdog, the IAEA. And what he said is that his team was in contact with the Iranian regime to arrange a further inspection of nuclear sites as soon as possible.
I had received a letter from the Iranian foreign minister saying that they had taken protective measures already. They did not get into details into what that meant, but clearly that was the implicit meaning of that. So we can imagine that this material is there. So for that to confirm, for the whole situation to evaluate, we need to return. Of course, we have to recognize that there was a war, there was military action until yesterday, so there is, of course, common sense and dignity that we need to respect. But at the same time, we have said we need to return.
The summit was officially opened by the Secretary General Mark Rutte, who said that world leaders would need to make what he called historic and transformational decisions in order to make the alliance more strong, fairer, and he also said more lethal. Have a listen.
We meet at a dangerous moment for our 1 billion citizens. Russia's war against Ukraine rages on. An assertive grouping of adversaries seeks to divide and challenge us. There's war in the Middle East, terrorism poses a persistent threat, and new technologies bring opportunities, but also many serious security challenges. In the face of this, we stand together, united in NATO, the most powerful defensive alliance in world history. History has shown that North America and Europe working together is a winning combination. Our adversaries know this. Our enduring commitment to Article 5, that an attack on one is an attack on all, sends a powerful message. In this meeting, we will take historic, transformational decisions to make our people safer through a stronger, fairer and more lethal NATO. To make NATO stronger, we have a concrete plan for all allies to spend 5% of GDP on defense. It will go towards core defense as well as defense and security-related investment.
Well, for Baltic states, events in Ukraine have been alarming, especially alarming, particularly. They really wanted that addressed here at the NATO summit. There had been some concerns that Iran, the Middle East, some of these issues would be overshadowing what they wanted to have discussed for the European continent, and also this ongoing threat of Russia, of course. Well, I can bring you some very particular analysis now with the Prime Minister of Estonia, Kristen Michel, who joins me. Prime Minister, you've come straight out of a meeting to join us. We do appreciate it, just out of the North Atlantic Council meeting. Firstly, how was the dynamic in the room?
It would say it was excellent, and I'm not even exaggerating, because the feeling was that this is an alliance that works together, knows its enemies, and everybody is willing to contribute more. Europe will contribute more, and not just to like everybody or just to please somebody, but for their own defense. So it's quite clear, and the dynamics in the room is quite good.
So there were no divisions over that, over the commitment to 5%?
To be honest, no, because everybody knows that Spain has different position, but the speaking order is still not up to Spain. I will go back and then we'll see.
Was that a relief for you, for the Baltic states as well? Because your defence spending is good because you've got Russia right on your doorstep, but convincing others has always been a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, it is. It usually said that it's the distance between you and the enemy that makes you spend more, but we are very close to Russia. But everybody in this room in NATO understands that Russia is an acute threat. Russia is working also with Iran, with North Korea, also with China and so on. So I would say that for us, all the partners saying that they are committed to increasing defense expenditure, because Estonia is also setting the way that next year, starting already next year, we will have our defense expenditure 5.4% of our GDP. So that is not easy thing to do. That is absolutely not easy thing to do, but it's a necessity if you want to keep yourself free.
You must have an electorate, though, that's on board with that, because they feel this threat as an existential threat, I'm sure, from Russia every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that in Estonia, the support for NATO, for the defense expenditure, defense forces, it's absolutely high. But at the same time, to be honest, as a government, you have to make some concession also. You have to cut public spending in certain areas, raise taxes. So you can imagine, everybody, the viewers can imagine that that is also at the same time not so popular, the second side of the coin. So you do what you must.
What else was discussed just now in that room, and how much was Ukraine on the agenda? Because President Zelensky and his team are here very worried that their concerns would be overshadowed because of what's happening in the Middle East.
Ukraine is absolutely on the agenda. Everybody is talking about the Ukraine. President Zelensky was last night, he was on in the dinner, and everybody spoke to him also. So I would say that everything in NATO also is happening because Russia is an acute threat, and what's happening in Ukraine. So everybody says that they will back up Ukraine as long as needed, Ukraine to achieve just and lasting peace, which is an essential for Europe, for Ukraine. And I would say that everybody is on the same boat here. So.
We heard from President Trump yesterday on board Air Force One, questioning the various meanings, as he described it, definitions of Article 5, where one ally will come to the defence of another if they were attacked. Now, that has caused some concern. Did it worry you? Did you think, is the US really committed here, or did you think he was just trying to create some uncertainty just before arrival, keep people on their toes?
I don't know, but it was probably not his intention. But we have also American troops in Estonia, troops from UK, from France in Estonia, so they are also guaranteeing our freedom, and on the eastern flank that the freedom stays as it is. But also in the room, Donald Trump said that he's committed to Article 5, he's committed in NATO, and he said that as long as he's the president, they are committed to Article 5. So that's the message.
So that is hugely reassuring.
Absolutely.
Because in the past there has been threats from Donald Trump to pull the US out of NATO, and it's the most powerful member. To hear that from him just now, that really, people honest, must have really felt relieved to have heard that.
Absolutely, but it's also a good day because Europe has committed to increase its defense expenditure, because this kind of burden sharing also is important, because Europe is probably the most free and prosperous area in the world. So you have to invest in that also. And we have been living on the peace for a long time, relying on the states on that. So for us, for Estonia, for the eastern flank, for example, Nordics, to increase defense expenditure and to ramp up your capabilities, defense industry also, that is a very understandable position. And if others get behind it, and the states also, because transatlantic relations are essential for the security guarantees.
One of the themes of this year's summit, and it hasn't had much time, but you are the perfect person to talk about it, is we all know modern warfare is not just about military might. It is the hybrid threat as well, and Estonia is really a leader when it comes to cybersecurity and dealing with the cyber threat. What do other NATO allies need to learn? What do they need to do to build up resilience?
That is a good question, because in Estonia we have 100% of our public services online. You can even get married and divorced online. Eventually you have to show up for that, but
It doesn't sound very romantic.
I know, but it is as it is in Estonia, but it's a good thing. But you have to have hygiene, you have to have vigilance, you have to have good relations between public and private sector. Because in Estonia we have a quite unusual setup, because we have very strong IT sector, and they are working closely with the state. And as you know, from since 2007, Estonia was the first country to become under constant cyber attacks from Russia's side. Stateside criminal players and attacks during the Ukrainian aggression have not decreased, they have increased. So Russia is attacking us and whole Europe at the same
We're
time.
starting to see AI as well being used in this hybrid warfare too.
Everything. They're modifying everything. So it's I must say that you have to keep on your toes and evolve also with the cyber defenses and against hybrid threats. So we are always sharing with our allies information and experiences, and we will do that.
Prime Minister, it has been an absolute honour to have you with us on the programme. Thank you so much for joining us and for leaping out of the meeting to join us here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.